Hey quilters, it's Patti Carey of Patti's Patchwork. Thanks for following along in the With Glowing Hearts Quilt-along event celebrating the 10th anniversary of Northcott's O Canada collection. I'm so glad you're here. We are already at month 7 and that means that we are starting our 4-patch blocks this month. Here's what you need to get started. For our 4-patch heart blocks, we'll need our pieces of E2 along with fabrics B, H, I, K, and our label fabric M. Let's start with K, our stripe, which we used in block 4. We've already used part of it, so this time we're going to square up the top edge and position that squared up edge along a vertical line on our fabric. This enables me to cut a perfect 45-degree angle for my bias binding. I trim off just a sliver of that fold to create my 45-degree edge. Then I fold my fabric so that my cut edges are stacked, and I position that stacked cut edge on a vertical line on my cutting mat to cut my bias strips. I'm not going to cut all of this fabric into bias strips, but I do need most of it, 305 inches. So I will keep track as I'm cutting how much I have, and I will reserve the balance for my hearts. I take my heart shape to the back to a piece of cardboard, and I position it on my fabric, the back of my fabric. The template includes seam allowance, and next month we'll work on putting the hearts onto our 4-patch blocks. I'm going to trace 4 hearts on each of my 4 fabrics used for the heart appliques. Now let's cut our label fabric. I have a 6.5-inch square ruler that is super handy for this. I center the motif in the ruler to cut. I also have a 6.5 by 24-inch ruler that I can use. Again, I will center the block motif in the 6.5 inches and cut along 2 edges of my ruler. Then I turn my ruler and position the motif in the center again, cutting along the remaining 2 edges of my block. I'm going to use 16 of these. Now we'll make our 4-patch blocks. I've positioned my label in the upper right and lower left corners of my 4-patch, and I'm going to chain piece them to E2 squares. Sewing the 2 pieces in the top row and then the 2 pieces in the bottom row, and then pressing my seam toward the label fabric M. Now I sew row 1 to row 2. I'm going to make 4 of these blocks with the label square in the upper right and lower left corner of my 4-patch units. I've pressed the seam to one direction, then grabbed the other squares, positioning my label square in the upper left and lower right corner this time. Again, chain piece the pieces in row 1 together, and then chain piece the pieces in row 2 together. Press the seam toward the label fabric M and sew top row to the bottom row, nesting the seam at the center intersection. I will make 4 of these blocks that have the labels in the upper left and lower right corners as well. Now we cut out our hearts. There are 8/16 to cut out, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to think about the project I'm going to do for the Wear Your Patriotic Pride contest. You can find all the details on Northcott's website. The contest closes November 1st, so I better start soon. And there, our hearts are done and ready for next month. Our goal this month is to have 4 4-patch blocks that have the label panel motif in the upper right and lower left corners, and 4 4-patch blocks that have the label motif in the upper left and lower right corners. Once you've got that done, take a picture and head over to Northcott's Instagram page to post your picture for a chance at some fabulous prizes from our wonderful sponsors in the month 7 giveaway.
By the end of month 7, you'll also have cut out 4 hearts from each of the 4 fabrics used for the heart appliques. Join me next month as we applique those in place, and I'll share some tips and tricks with you there. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you back here next month.